Hi, my name is Christelle Baldovinos from the Global Prayer House in Medicine Hat. I'm going to be talking out of Mark 4:19, which says, "The cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desire for other things, entering in, choke out the word, and we become unfruitful." I want to talk about how sometimes in life, in our search for happiness, we're looking for things to fulfill that void in our heart, that void to make us happy, when really only eternal things are what makes us happy. And sometimes we buy things, or we use just temporal pleasures, things that we can purchase with our money to bring us happiness in this life. And really in Matthew 6:19, it says that we should store up for ourselves treasures in heaven, not treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. But instead we should store them up in heaven where thieves do not break in and steal. And God shows us here a principle of when we think with an eternal mindset, we're actually storing up treasures in heaven. And some people, we spend so much of our time on this earth, even just planning for things like retirement. We'll spend so much energy and effort to plan for that 15 to 20 year span of time, when we need to be planning and thinking for eternity. Eternity will be billions and billions of years, and every time we think with an eternal mindset, it's the way that God thinks, and we can store up treasures in heaven where thieves won't break in and steal. In Malachi 3:16, it says that there's a scroll of remembrance, and every single one of us have a book. And Psalm 139 actually confirms this, that our days were written in a book before one of them came to be. And God actually writes down things in a book, the things that we do in a day, the things that we give to others, how we bless, how we even a cup of cold water, Jesus says, is like giving it as unto me. And all these little things, even the desires, the budding virtues of our heart, God actually writes those things down and stores them in heaven. And in Matthew 25:40, it says, "Truly I tell you, whatever you do for the least of these brothers, you have done for me." And in Psalm 90, verse 12, Moses is actually talking, and he says to teach us the brevity of life so that we may grow in wisdom. And we need to know how short our life is, and that how we are not citizens of an earthly kingdom, but we're citizens of a heavenly kingdom. We are living our life from a perspective of looking at things the way God sees them. And when we begin to live that way, even the smallest little things in our day, the mundaneness of life, has true value and meaning and purpose. In Colossians 3, it actually says that whatever we do, do it as unto the Lord. It's Him that we're serving. And if we can think that when we're doing things, like for me, I have 5 kids, and a lot of my life is a lot of mundane things. And when I am doing things like laundry, or I'm doing things like paperwork or cooking or cleaning, if I do them as an act of worship to the Lord, I am actually storing up treasures in heaven. I'm actually storing up for those future days. And we need to begin to plan for that season of time, that eternity that we have with the Lord, instead of just thinking about only what's happening on this earth. I love what Jonathan Edwards said, one of the great revivalists of our time. He said to stamp eternity on our eyeballs. And we need to actually, it's a funny picture, but we need to actually stamp them on our eyeballs, stamp that kind of thinking, so when we look at things, we see things that way. Wisdom in this life is to live for the next. I also love in 2 Corinthians 4, where it says to set your mind on things above and not on earthly things. We're supposed to fix our mind and our eyes on what is not what is unseen, not what is seen, but what is unseen, because what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. So there's a principle there of setting and fixing. It's not something that comes natural to us, but we actually have to take our mind off of our cares and the things that are going on in the earth today in our lives, and we need to take our mind off of those things and set them on things that are eternal. Some of the greatest treasures that we have that are eternal are people. And whenever we invest in people, whether we just bless somebody, encourage someone, give somebody a prophetic word, pray for somebody, love on our kids, or, take care of someone, all of those things have weight and have value before the Lord. That gives me great courage, because I know for me, it's so sometimes it feels like there's so many people that are doing great things and what I'm doing really doesn't matter. But for all of us, we can take great encouragement in that, knowing that even in the smallest of things, that we can be great in the eyes of God. And being great in the eyes of God has more to do with what's going on in our heart, not what's going on the outside. So we need to begin to invest in what is going on in the inside of our heart, and what is going on in a relationship between us and the Lord. So I'm just going to pray today that you begin, just like me, to go on that journey of beginning to look at our world around us through eternal perspective. Begin to see the way God sees. Begin to burn for souls. Begin to love people the way God has called us to love people. So Lord, I just thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to look at people and to love them the way that you do. I ask that you would turn our hearts towards the people around us, that you would turn our hearts towards you, that our love would abound, that we would grow in the depth and the width and the height of your love, that we would know that love that surpasses all knowledge and understanding. God, I thank you that you give it to us through revelation, experiential knowledge. So I just pray right now for every viewer watching that you would give them the experiential knowledge of loving you and what that love feels like. In Jesus' name.